Courtney Dillon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Well, I'm just good. It's Thursday. It's almost Friday. Yay.
I know. Here we are. End of the
Busy
week.
week.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm really excited. Hi, Erik. I love you.
He kind of flashes a sign today. I don't even if I do it right. It's like, and he's.
Right.
I love you, Mom.
Oh, I love you too. So we're going to interview one of my favorites, Sidney Poitier. I don't really know much about his background, but after he died, I was really sad, but he had a great life, I think. And I binged on so many of his things. To Serve with Love, one of my favorites, man. And Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Raising the Sun. I mean, Heat of the Night. It was just awesome. He had so many, and he did so much for race relations, I think. Now, whether we listen or not, I don't know, as a collective, but I don't know. We'll find out more about his spiritual mission. But I've got some questions from the community. And is he here?
Yeah, he's here. He is wearing, his energy is amazing. It feels, the way I could describe it is like regal, very almost like a king.
I can feel that.
Right? And very elegant.
Yeah.
He's smiling as I say this about him. He's wearing a very dark suit with a tie today, red tie.
Oh, that's cool.
And we're sitting across from one another. Erik's sitting next to him.
Okay.
He brought him in, but we're going to sit across from one another to do, it's sort of like an interview of sorts. So,
all right.
Okay.
All right. Well, the first question is, what were your first thoughts or reasons that guided you to become an actor?
He says, thank you for having me. First thing.
We're blessed. We're honored. Thank you.
To answer your question, from a young age, I had a sense of who I was and what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure of acting necessarily, but acting chose me. It seemed the right path as I could express my hidden gifts and talents in a way for others to see.
Okay. How did you get your start in the movie career? And like, who was behind, if anybody, the launching of your career?
So he shows me, he's in the United States and he is in New York City, and he's working as a dishwasher. So he's washing dishes, sitting in the back of restaurants very late into the night. I can see big, huge piles of dishes. He's working at like about 3 o'clock in the morning. And he would go for auditions at this time. And he shows me that actually he says, I was rejected. So he's rejected many times.
Yeah, of course.
And they did not accept the way I spoke. I had to change the way I spoke to be acceptable for the audience. So actually, it looks like he changed his pattern of speech.
From what?
Changed how he spoke. The dialect I carried. So the dialect he carried. So from his home, his family, he has a big family, and they have a sort of like they have a dialect, like a Caribbean dialect, and he had to change his pattern of speech. So it feels like he was rejected at least 2 or 3 times. And finally, he was taken on to like a theater role, it looks like. And from here, he was able to eventually move into film. But this takes a little bit of time. So this is through really hard work, he says, and determined effort.
A lot of dishes. Okay, did your parents support your acting career?
My parents supported me in every way.
Oh,
so yes, they did. They don't fully, they're both crossed over.
oh yeah.
Yeah. They're both fully aware of what I did now, but at the time they did not understand my career. They understood my fame and celebrated that, but they didn't necessarily understand him as an actor. It didn't it wasn't huge for them. They didn't really get it, but they were willing to celebrate the impact he had on the world.
And he did. Sidney, Sir Poitier, did you always want to become an actor? When did you first, how old were you when
He's age 15.
Okay.
Age 15.
What made that happen?
It looks like he saw some films. He shows me seeing some films and seeing pictures of not people that look like me, he says, but people on screen. And this appealed to him greatly. What do you mean?
People who, not people who look like who? You?
No. He's saying, sorry, I was acting like how he was doing
this.
Okay,
good. Like me.
Yeah, like me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he shows me that he says, I didn't intend to break down barriers. I didn't intend to make my job to break down barriers, but this was the effect of what I did.
Oh, yes. What's your favorite movie role? I mean, what's your favorite movie that you did? Or maybe it's not a movie.
Raisin in the Sun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's on my list. I haven't watched it yet. I watched The Simple Life of Noah Dearborn. I mean, all the two others I mentioned. Heat of the Night too. Yeah, awesome. So how did it feel acting? How did it make you feel?
He has an opinion that is strengthened now since crossing to the other side, that all human beings are connected. All human beings share the same suffering, the same longing, the same joy, the same pain, the same need for community, the same way we love and care for one another. We share these things as humans. Acting allowed me to transform into another, to see through the eyes of another. This was the greatest gift of my life.
Oh,
yeah, he loves acting, acting. He just loves, he shows me he loves moving. I've never been an actor in that way, but he shows me you go and getting the script and just really embodying the character.
Yeah.
He's saying it's kind of similar to what I do. It's like there's a channeling that happens.
I bet. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
Memorizing the lines.
No, that was
but it teaches you exactness of mind. He strives to create situations in where I portray all humans with a sense of dignity. So that feels very important to him, human dignity.
Okay. Did you have an actor that you looked up to or admired? Role model?
Too many to name, but he shows me when he was young, there's some character actors that he saw on screen that really touched him. He enjoyed working with Tony Curtis.
Okay.
A lot. They're both matched in their ability. They both portray, I don't understand which role he's telling me, but they're both portray they're together in this movie, and they portray their characters really well, and he was very proud of that work.
That's awesome. So do you have a favorite co-star? I mean, Katharine Hepburn, Tracy Spencer. I mean, there's
he loves Katharine Hepburn. because of the way she carries herself with such elegance, with such grace. So he says, it is difficult because of the gift of my life. I was able to work with many, many talented people. It is difficult to narrow down to one particular, but he does love Katharine Hepburn.
What about Tracy Spencer? You worked with him, the future father-in-law, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Well, how did you get along?
All of these souls taught me something about myself. We teach each other. Through these roles, I was able to have a better understanding of what it means to be a human walking the planet, to be a soul in a body. It truly is a gift. That this life was a gift. I am grateful.
So in To Serve with Love, there was one singer who was your student, a bunch of misfit students who had fallen, through the cracks.
By the wayside.
Kind of like Dangerous Minds, but Lulu was a really nice singer, and she was one of the students. How did you what was your relationship with her like?
In the film or in real life?
Well, yeah, in the film. I mean, in real life. And with all the students in your little class of people you were teaching as.
One of the things he shows me on a personality level that's interesting is he was a bit, you wouldn't call him maybe standoffish, but he came in, he did a really good job, but he didn't necessarily get super close to people.
Okay.
It's not like necessarily, there was no malintent, or he wasn't known as difficult even, actually. He's a very focused, eloquent energy. He's very focused, and so that's not to be, socializing wasn't hugely important to me.
Okay. How did it make you feel to make history being the first Black man to win an Oscar for Best Actor? I didn't know that. It's cool.
He's showing me the image of the feeling of standing up on stage. It was one of mixed emotions. On one hand, I recognized that my role was one of the change maker.
Yeah.
I was here to make change in Hollywood, in the United States, in the world. I saw myself in this role. It shows me he stepped in those shoes. It's sort of like he kind of felt that this was his role and he was willing to step in those shoes. The other part of him worried that he was given these accolades as a token of his skin color.
Oh, I see.
While I know this isn't true, there was an aspect of me that considered this in a measured way and determined, no, I earned these roles. But I never wanted to be seen as a token.
Right. Exactly. How do you feel about the current movie industry and Hollywood? Oof, gulp.
My opinions are much the same as they were working in the industry. There are many problems. There are many ways that a human must lose his dignity in order to succeed. I chose not to, except on an occasion where I was told I wouldn't work unless I acted in a certain film or something.
Okay.
Hollywood is often considered a dark place, and I would agree. There is much darkness, but there's also many people who are good, honorable, and true. While the majority, however, is not.
Can you name one instance where you feel like you compromised your integrity in that way?
Yes, he doesn't want to name names, but he's saying that he took on, so there was a particular director that basically told him something along the lines of, you won't be able to work very much after this if you don't do this role, kind of like a threat.
Ugh.
And so this happened more than once. You know, he really, one of his principles in life is human dignity.
Yeah.
He really lived with this principle of dignity. He lived in integrity with himself and all that he decided to put in the world. And if you notice the roles I took, it was not based on, like he would take on what he's showing me. I want to try to explain this. He would take on very nuanced roles for African Americans. He worked hard not to just portray African Americans,
right,
how they had been portrayed up until he took the stage.
Yeah.
And so it's really important for you to understand that his roles were carefully chosen because they showed humanness, they showed integrity, they showed the dignity of human life. This was my goal and continues to be my goal.
Every role, I mean, I just saw him as so elegant and sophisticated and dignified, you know, and so there we go. Is Hollywood as destructive to actors today as it was in the past? For example, I can't believe they put Shirley Temple in a box. I don't know what that means. And Corey Haines was abused. Is it worth it to support Hollywood by seeing movies? Or should we just vote with our wallets by not going?
This is a choice that each individual has to make according to their conscience. So he's not willing to say for each person.
Yeah.
There are, he has a hard time. He doesn't like speaking in generalities, right? This is important, right? As with any group of people or any unit or organization, there are people who are kind and good and true and people who are not. It is important to observe what you are giving. So the question, he's responding to the question, in anything, it is important to observe what you are giving your money to. Are you giving your money to support instances and scenes of violence, degradation of women, racism? Or are you giving your money to support art and the representation of humanity and the way in which we are all connected as one human race? So there are still films being made in which it's really beautiful, but it's to be a keen observer of what is being offered to you. Okay, because he does show me he doesn't like, and he'll just say that, these portrayals of violence in particular, gratuitous. He does not agree that is useful for humankind.
Okay.
He says beneficial. I got the word wrong.
All right. What advice do you have for aspiring actors? Don't do it.
He smiles. Acting is a calling. Do not act because you seek fame or fortune or notoriety. Act because it is a soul calling.
Like being a doctor, same thing. Don't be a doctor for the money, because there's a lot easier ways to make more money than that.
Well, he's saying we are each given a soul calling. It is our job to remember and to act accordingly.
Okay.
He sees that many people go into the profession, into the business for fame, notoriety, money, status.
Yeah.
And that's, really, that's not why he did it at all. It had nothing to do with it. So.
Yeah. All right. To Serve with Love, for this person, is one of my favorite movies. And I'll have to agree. It was pivotal for me. I had a racist, narcissistic mother. I think this film opened my eyes to racial equality. Also, that I would grow up and escape her. You know, you were a trailblazer, influencing and inspiring children like me.
Wow. He says thank you to that person. I had a sense of what I was doing, but it's like anything, you don't see the full picture.
Yeah, of course not.
Right. However, he says he had chosen consciously and deliberately to step into the shoes of the person who comes to change things. So he did know. And it's very important to also note that all his roles were chosen for a specific reason, right? He knew a role had to be complex, nuanced, and not necessarily each role was about race, but would address race in a particular way.
Okay. Interesting. Did you choose to incarnate as a Black man during the civil rights movement?
Yes.
Have you met Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yes, he has.
How was that?
An interesting meeting. Dr. King is a voice of wisdom.
Yeah.
And he deeply influenced me on the planet.
Wow.
I am grateful for his work and his service. And he said he was grateful for my work and my service.
Oh, all right. Why is race such a barrier for African Americans here? What is the main goal behind racial barriers?
The barriers are constructed. Humans are born into lives of barriers, right? It's almost like, not almost like, it is like, it's a two-tiered society, two-tiered system. And my goal was to portray it as such in an effort to begin this process of change. Has it happened? Not yet. But I can see viewpoints and mindset beginning to shift in some people. And that is a good sign.
Okay. Personally, I hope, don't shoot the messenger. I think that we have done a great disservice to African Americans by with the Great Society and taking away the father from the family unit and creating this, not everybody, obviously, but a segment of that population as a professional poor class. And I think it's horrible that we've done that. And it's like every time politicians pour the race card, they're further dividing us. It's like, I just can't wait till we keep breeding and we're all the same freaking color. I mean, I think people have weaponized the whole race thing to further their own agenda sometime. People are people. We bleed the same blood. It's just horrible how we even have to, why do we have to bring it up? I mean, there should be equality across the board, regardless of gender and, religion and race and skin color, all that. But when we focus on it constantly, then it just seems like we're just making the divide bigger, just putting salt in the wound. Anyway, correct me if I'm wrong. I find it there. My first boyfriend was a Black man, lovely person. And I just feel like it's horrible how they've been treated, but it's also how horrible how we've tried to rectify it and how we've weaponized the whole race thing.
He's saying there's many layers to discuss. First, he wants to be clear that he never set out to make his career about race.
Yeah.
I intended to make my mark on the world about who I am and who I portray. Race has been weaponized to a degree in which the Black community is seen by many as other. It is the job of community to come together and see beyond the construct of race, to see humans as human,
Yeah.
to see brother as brother, to see sister as sister.
Yeah. I had this feeling that, of course, there's the old school, you know, people who are in their 60s or whatever, that there are plenty of racists, okay? But I have a feeling that the younger generations, you know, even my generation, they don't feel the same way about African Americans that certain politicians feel we're, you know, feeling basically.
What you are speaking to is marginalization in systems. The system is broken. The system needs to change. While certain segments of population do not see African American brothers and sisters in the same way, the system is what they are born into. The system holds them in place. The system marginalizes them and keeps these brothers and sisters in poverty. It is the job.
They traded one plantation for another, really.
It is the job now to change these systems little by little, day by day, by coming together and working in integrity and seeing all people as part of the common brotherhood of man.
Well, I think that the whole word dignity applies here, because what we have robbed many African Americans of is dignity. They deserve dignity.
The culture,
quality, of course, but dignity, maybe even more so.
The culture, he wants to say something. The culture itself, in the United States, robs humans of their dignity. It is the cultural problem.
Poor people are robbed of dignity, regardless of the color of their skin, too. So there are a lot of white poor people who are mistreated by the police, and I could go on and on, but I don't want to get on this is about you, not me. What did you learn about the whole race thing, and what should we focus on going forward?
He says he's spoken to this already.
How many times did you have a life as being white?
He laughs at the question. He says, how many times did you have a life as being Black? That's how he responds. He's making it. Yeah. He's been all races, all genders, all colors.
Okay. Can you tell me your favorite life, or maybe even the life that most influenced your one as Sidney Poitier this life?
You know what's funny is when I ask him this, he'll go into it, he'll show me, but he says that he's very proud of this life, that this is actually, as far as a soul is concerned, one particular life where he came in and he did what he intended to do. So that's pretty important. He just wants to be clear about that. He shows me several lifetimes in, this is interesting. He is living as like a royal.
Oh, typical. Because he's so regal. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's showing me extremes. So he's lived as a royal. He's somewhere in like Austria, I think, or Germany.
Okay.
He's a royal. And he also shows me lots of lifetimes of just extreme poverty.
Mm.
He has been a slave.
Yeah.
He has been, so one of the things he wants people to understand is that we've been it all.
Oh, yeah.
That he's been a slave, that he's been the master of a slave. And so have all of us.
Yeah, we've been sinners and saints, all of us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He came, so this life wasn't just about him changing the way African Americans were viewed in the country and in the world, although that did happen. This life was about the representation of human dignity, of asserting his, like coming in to fulfill his sole purpose as an actor, as an artist, as a man. And he fulfilled that. So he's happy. He's saying he wasn't perfect in other ways. He's
close to perfect as any of us are. So what's your spiritual mission? Your main purpose here, this lifetime?
To show others that humans are all connected. We are connected by blood. We are connected by family. We are connected through the human heart.
Yeah.
So that is his goal.
That's pretty awesome. What is your opinion about, or any advice about the Black Lives Matter movement? Oof.
He sees both sides. Mm-hmm. As with anything, things are more nuanced and complicated,
of course,
than when we look at them. Yeah. There is aspects of this movement that have been very beneficial for the African American communities. They have allowed communities to come together, to galvanize, to support one another. And for that, he is grateful and sees the benefit. Mm. He also does see some of the downside or the political motivation of this organization. However, like anything, you can see there are positives that come out of any negative situation. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. What do you think about defunding the police?
He doesn't have a strong opinion about defunding the police.
Okay.
Generally, police brutality toward the African American community has been, he's showing that the African American community has been an incredible target of police brutality.
Yeah.
And that
Erik was,
and that is the root of the problem, and that needs to change.
Yeah.
Whether that is through defunding the police, he is not at liberty to speak about whether that's a good idea. But he's just showing me the problem is what he wants to focus on.
Bad apples, maybe. I mean, just get rid of the bad apples and train people to the policemen to handle things differently instead of with violence.
He's saying one of the problems we have is a cultural problem that he sees, a problem of culture, of not showing respect. Most people not being taught to respect the life of another, to respect and honor the humanity of each person you encounter. I see you, he's talking to you. I see you as a woman. I see you as a soul. I see you as a being, a human being worthy of my respect. And he's saying that this sort of viewpoint is what we need to change as a culture. We need to speak to other people with respect, kindness, and dignity, right? Yeah. That fundamental misconception in this culture is what needs to change in order to change this country. And so that's what he sees as the police. The police are a symptom of a larger problem. It is important always to look deeper into the larger problem at hand. So he really likes to like, he's very intelligent.
Oh God, yeah.
Tell. He likes that I gave him a compliment. But he also shows me, you know, with any problem, we can look at it, and he shows me that most people look head on, very superficially.
Yeah. He
wants people to go further, go deeper. And that's when you can examine what is actually the problem. Because what he sees happening right now that he does not like is just people talking over each other and talking at each other.
Yeah.
And especially just levels of disrespect and how they engage. Yeah. Civil discourse appears to be at a disadvantage. Yeah, it's gone at the moment. So not with everyone, but this level of civility needs to return in order for us to come together in any substantive way.
Well, not all policemen are bad, but I'll give you one example of what I think you're saying, Mr. Poitier, is I think it was a Burger King, can't remember. A guy was drunk, passed out in his car in the parking lot. The police, you know, sort of, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And what they should have done is like, it looks like you had a little bit too much to drink. Would you like us to drive you home? And then we could help you pick up your car the next day. But no, they had to escalate things. And what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And it ended up, the guy got killed. He got tased. No, shot in the back. I can't remember. But it was, you know, not seeing even somebody who's not a criminal in this case, but even criminals with respect and dignity. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean they should be not accountable for what they do.
No, he's not saying that. He wants to be clear. He's not saying that they shouldn't be held accountable.
Everybody with love and respect and dignity. But of course, you know, they need to be accountable. Favorite memory with family or friends?
Growing up, it looks very rural. There's a lot of children running around. There's animals everywhere. I see like chickens, I see a goat. And it just looks really magical, actually. He didn't have an awareness of what was going to lie before him in terms of understanding race, understanding that there are certain things that people would tell me I can't do.
Yeah.
He didn't even have this as a little kid.
Wow.
So it's really, it's not, it's like, it's pretty beautiful.
Wow. So. What is your view on the current challenge of humanity with regards to the next few years, from a perspective as in spirit, basically?
We are faced with grave challenges, and humanity itself is in grave danger should they not choose to observe the error of their ways. Start today. Begin to see each neighbor, each person on the street as a human being worthy of your respect. We can begin to change. We can begin to address these overwhelming problems by understanding the need to come together beyond any superficial differences. So yeah, that's very important. He wants me to highlight that. the way in which we are getting caught in these very superficial differences.
Yeah.
He wants us to go beyond, and not just differences in the way people look. He wants to be clear. He's not simply talking about race. He's talking about differences in political ideologies, differences of opinion,
yeah,
so on and so forth. We need to go beyond this, and we need to see each person as worthy of our respect. Now, we don't have to agree with them, but we need to see them as a member of the human race.
Well, wait a minute. I don't know if everybody deserves full respect. I think
no, he
deserves
disagrees.
love and understanding.
He
and
says,
not
no.
judgment.
He wants to challenge you.
Oh boy.
Every person walking the planet deserves respect in so much that they are a human.
Okay. But not full respect on their entire lives and everything they do and all that.
He's not saying we have to agree with their choices,
right?
To agree with their decisions, to agree with life choices they've made. You get the idea. Yeah. But he's saying it's a base level of respect because they were born into a human body and a member of this oneness.
Right.
Of, that's what he can see.
I can definitely agree with that. Yeah. So
it's not about agreement.
No, it's about respect for somebody going through the human experience, like all of us. Mm-hmm. So, and you're understanding that some people have to play the villain in order to have another person, or even the collective learn things. So, and evolve. Okay. What was your greatest accomplishment?
Many would think it was the Academy Award or changing. I view my greatest accomplishment as staying true to myself.
Oh, I love that. What is the biggest lesson you learned?
He smiles. How long do you have?
We all are here to learn a lot.
Yeah. I learned that hard work pays off.
Yeah.
Perseverance is a gift. To not give up, among other things.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Tell me about your transition. And are you happy now that you've crossed over?
Yes, very much. My transition was a peaceful one. It looks like he had several different health issues going on. He was, he had a lot of, he was old, he shows me.
Yeah.
And it was just time for him to go. He was ready. Yeah. And his body was failing. And he was happy with his life.
So who did you tell me about what was it a white tunnel, or who did you meet? Tell us about your transition, your crossing over and everything.
He shows me a tunnel.
Okay.
And on the other, it's like you go through this tunnel, and then on the other side of the tunnel, you're met with your friends and family. His mom, his dad, some of his brothers and sisters also look like they're in spirit. Okay. Not all of them, but some of them.
Okay.
He's a big family.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so he's met by all of them, and he continues to be with many of them in spirit.
Okay. And now, do you have any life's work that you plan over there? Do you plan on helping humanity? What are you uniquely gifted to do in that arena? So
he's making a joke, but he says he's going to take a break for a little while.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah. After his break, his rest, he's not sure yet, but he's going to get to work because he likes working. He likes having things to do.
Yeah.
Either working with humans or working on because he really has this artist, energy on the other side. So he's kind of working it out right now.
Okay.
He's going to watch over his family too, who's still here.
Okay. Have you had your life review? So what was that like?
Yes, he's had his life review.
Oh,
Good in general, more good than bad, he says with a big,
cool.
big smile.
All right. Any regrets?
All humans have certain behaviors they wish they had not done. Sometimes he could be stubborn, standoffish, difficult in his personality. So not necessarily huge regrets. He feels generally he's made the right choices, but he can see the error of his ways.
Can you tell us what you were here to teach? Maybe you already covered that. I don't know.
To echo the sentiment he shared earlier, that all humans are deserving of respect.
I like that. Do you have any other advice for us? Or message for humanity?
To remember that the source of your wisdom lies within.
Yeah.
To speak in a measured way. So he said, he's showing me it's very important to speak with power, with dignity, and in a measured way. So he very much, before he speaks on any topic, he thinks through it.
I can imagine that.
You know what I mean? He said he was speaking a little faster today to kind of keep up with the questions, but he likes to think things through before he speaks. He recommends that most humans work on this.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm just like blah, 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 blah. And my family's like, do you hear the words that are coming out of your mouth? Well, I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Anyway, that's just one of my little foibles. What, in your opinion, is the most important thing you would like people to know about you or anything really?
That I am you, that I am simply a man who chose to do something great, that you are also able to access your greatness by being quiet and listening. So this is how we begin to access our greatness. It's through the process of listening. And he's not listening to both others, but listening to ourselves.
Your heart, yeah.
Really, yeah.
Wow.
These quiet impulses, he calls them.
Yeah. Wow. Is there anything that nobody but you knows about that's kind of fun? Like, I say this all the time, but Madame Curie had one of her skirts, she had a little teddy bear sewed on the inside of it. Is there anything fun?
He has a big smile, but he says he does believe in magic.
Okay, I do too. David Blaine, Chris Angel. All right, what do you think about Erik and channeling Erik and what we're doing here?
He's grateful for Erik because they look like they've become friends. And the work that you are doing to better the world. He's grateful that you are teaching people to remember who they are and teaching people to treat others with kindness and respect. So he likes your work.
Oh, that's awesome. Our work, you're included. Yeah, Erik, your first girlfriend was in middle school and she was African-American. Girlfriends back then, it's like you just meet at the locker every morning, whatever. But so I always taught my kids that, especially as a doctor, skin color is just ridiculously unessential. Anyway, and should not be focused upon at all. It should be the inside, the heart, the soul of a person. That's all that matters, people. So, all right. And all you guys who are to have racist tendency, remember, you are other races in other lives. Okay. So, kettle calling the pot black kind of thing. All right. All right. Thank you. And Courtney Dillon, check her out at CourtneyDillon.com. Please, you guys, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything cool, and like and share if you can. All right. Love you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Courtney. I love you both.
Thank you.
Thank
Love
you, Sir Poitier. Thank you so much. I love you dearly.
He says, thank you for having me.
It's an honor. Bye.